That's not comfortable because we want to steer. I want to steer this ship. I don't want to go over there. I want to go over here. But the water prevailed, so Noah and the ark had to go wherever the water led them. Out of Noah's control, but in God's control. Bible says that the water prevailed for 5 months, but then it says in chapter 8, verse 1, God remembered Noah. Because sometimes we think that after the 40 days when I was expecting to be done with this thing, I had all my dialysis treatments and I took all my medication. You know, you take your pills. The doctor said take these pills for 30 days. And I thought whatever, after my medication, after my dialysis, I thought I was going to be done. And sometimes whatever situation that we happen to be in, we think that we're like Noah out there stuck on the sea, out there with no sign of life around me, that there is no help. But God remembered Noah when he was out there all by himself on the ocean, in the same way that God remembered Noah. If you're in a situation in your life where you feel like you're all by yourself and there's nobody else around, no sign of life anywhere, God will remember you. He will remember you. There was some stuff that he had to get out of the way, some stuff he had to get rid of. There was some purging and some cleansing that God had to do. So sometimes when we feel like we're all by ourselves, we're not alone, because God remembered Noah. And it goes on to say that after he remembered Noah, that the rain from the sky, in verse 2, you can go ahead and go there. It says the rain from the sky was restrained. The rain from the sky was restrained because there's some things that if God doesn't step in and puts a restraining order,
you better go.
You know, when there's a restraining order, it puts boundaries and restrictions on things that cannot come near your proximity. There's some stuff that God will put a restraining order on because he doesn't want that thing that's trying to terrorize or oppress. He doesn't want that thing to come near you. And he won't, it's just like in the legal system, they don't even let you get close. They make sure that you are way over there. God will put restraining orders in place to keep the enemy at bay. So even though he wishes he could come up and touch your life, God will restrain him that he can't come nowhere near you or what belongs to you, your possession, your health, your wealth. God will put the restraining order on the enemy. God restrained the rain. And then in verse 4, so God had to restrain the rain. He had to hold it back because if the rain kept falling, the water would just stay at flood level. So God had to stop the rain, restrain it. And then in verse 4, it says, in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark rested on the mountains. The ark rested. 40 days and 40 nights of rain. You're thinking that it's going to be over, but here it is. 5 months later, you finally get to rest. You finally get to rest after watching the rain pour for 40 whole days and nights. You finally get to rest because it was just floating along. Noah had no clue on where it was going to stop. He had to depend totally on God to lead him to the right place, and it was on the top of this mountain. Then they were able to rest 5 months later, but they were still secluded. They were still apart. There was no life. They were just sitting on top of a mountain. And then if you go to verse 5, Verse 5, it says that then in the 10th month, 5 months, they were still floating. In the 10th month, another 3 months after, another 3 months. I'm just like floating. And then here it is, 8 months. You only told me 40 days. It's 8 months later. 8 months later, it said the mountains, the tops of the mountains became visible. First sign of life after the flood. 8 months later, 8 months later, floating on. Listen, when I go on those cruise ships, they're okay.
They're fun. Wonderful.
They're all right. I've tried them. I tried the 3-day, the 4-day, the 7-day. Listen, out there on that ocean, you get out there, you don't see nothing, and you get to going around that ship. First day, it's kind of exciting. Second day, you take your time, stop in the lounge and, have some lunch and what have you. Third day, okay, I've been around this ship. I ain't seen nothing new. By then, I'm like, okay, I'm about ready. I'm about ready to go back home. I'm about ready now. I could do 4. I could do 4. But look, anything more than 4, I can't do it. Can't do it, Nick. I can't do it. Noah was out there 8 months. That was like one of them underway, what you call them, them deployments. Tell me about them deployments. All them months out there, away from family, and then when you come back, they make you turn around and go right back out again.
Thank you for watching this snippet of our recent service. To enjoy the full message, click the link in the description. God bless, and thank you for watching.